Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to be reacting to a TikTok that was so refreshing to see, so I wanted to shed a light on it and share it with all of you as well. And just to give a little bit of context here for anyone who missed it, a few weeks ago, I reacted to a girl talking about her bad experience on OnlyFans and the fact that she was thinking of quitting. Since I made that, if you want a little update, apparently she did quit, and some of you let me know that she made a video and said that I need to count my effing days. I'm not sure why my video warranted a threat, considering I was rooting for her, but I digress. But anyways, it reminded me of this video that I'm about to show you, except this girl actually takes accountability, and I think her message is just a lot more positive and refreshing, instead of, blaming it on men or pointing fingers. So let's give it a watch and reconvene, and I will share my thoughts per usual. Disclaimer, because I guess I have to do this now. I am not sharing this so that you can go hate on this girl. Actually, I am blurring out her name because I don't want you to do that. There's a valuable lesson to be learned here, and I believe more people need to see this message for it to really make a difference. So I'm sharing this to hopefully save or change a life in a positive way, whether you're someone who makes the content, is thinking about doing it, or someone who consumes it. And I also think that when you post a video of yourself online trying to share a positive message, how can you then be mad at people who are also promoting your message, hoping that it reaches more people? That is how you make a difference. But anyways, this one was much more refreshing, and I think that you will all enjoy it. So let's get into it.
Okay, guys, I'm talking about something deep today, and that is why I quit OF as in only. Okay, so if you know, I had an OF for about 10 months. And in the beginning, it was so fun, so good, because I was making so much money by doing so little work. And it was just a surreal thing. And I never had money like that before. Like, I always kind of struggled financially and didn't come from a household with like a lot of money. So it was like surreal to me. But over time, I would say after about like the 4th or 5th month, that's when things started to go downhill. I was in a relationship with someone who I wouldn't really say like approved of it, but didn't judge me, but like internally judged me. And to me, that affected me a lot because I was like in love with him and I knew he didn't like really approve of it. And that made me kind of like feel really bad, but he knew going into dating me that I did it. Anyway, I just really had to like figure out my morals and my values as an individual. And one day, like, he did sit me down and he's like, Hannah, like, I'm not saying this because I'm judging you. I'm saying that, like, you say you want this and you're this and this, and then you're posting these type of things and the world is going to see you that way. Like, even if who you are is not like this super sexual person, blah, blah, blah. Like, if you're posting, sexual photos or doing all that kind of stuff, obviously that's how the world's going to perceive you. And I definitely appreciate my ex for that. Like, he's the one who really, like, made me realize who I want to be and like give up things, even if that means that I lose all that money I'm getting. And I just think there's like such a stereotype, like it's such an accepted thing these days. And I feel bad for these girls who are getting into social media, because I get it, like, get your bag. I'm not hating on any girl who does OF, because you do make so much by doing so little, but I also think it makes you feel as though you don't have to work for anything, and you kind of don't care about like the mark you leave in the world. You're just thinking about the money, and like that's not fulfilling at all. I think there's just such a like negative and a con side of doing OF, because if you have for any religious values or like you really want to positively impact the world, like you can't really be doing that if you're just like kind of selling yourself. And again, this isn't me judging, it just kind of to put that light on like the con side, because there's so many girls that do OF and it's kind of like this applauded thing these days. And I think that it really does take a toll on your mental health. Like, I really started to hate myself because I was doing something that didn't align with who I was as a person. And once I started living a life that was aligned with myself, even if I now am not really making money, I'm still so thankful and would never go back. And yeah.
Love her. I mean, how refreshing is it to see someone talk about their experience, take accountability, share that with other people, instead of pointing fingers and blaming anyone else. She did not do that once in the video, which is how it should be when you reach a point in your life where you realize you've evolved. You want to move on from something. You want to help someone else, maybe not make the same mistakes as you. And you lay it on the table. So bravo, round of applause. Really like her, love her attitude. Again, I'm blurring her out because I don't want you guys to leave anything negative on her page, because I think if we want people to make a difference, and I said this before and I'll say it again, if we want someone to be open and vulnerable and share their experience and make a difference by doing so, we cannot then go and attack them or just be so hateful and vitriolic. Like, I know I say that a lot in my videos, but I think it's so important. The way to make a difference and foster change and growth in people, especially as a leader, is to be kind, to be empathetic, and to really listen. And I think if we did more of that, we would actually see a more positive reaction. So just something to consider before you leave a mean comment. Think about that. So the first point I want to talk about is the fact that she said it's not fulfilling, coming from her words. She said, "You make so much for doing so little," which I think is the exact reason why this work is glamorized. As I said in the last video that I did about this, there are obviously cons and negatives to absolutely everything that you do. Some just pack more of a punch than others. But I think we do people such a disservice when we don't talk about the downsides and fail to think about the long-term consequences. Unfortunately, spicy content, I'm calling it that so that YouTube doesn't flag my video, comes with a lot of negative consequences that absolutely have the ability to come back and bite you in the butt later. I think a lot of people completely lose sight of what is truly important in life and often don't realize it until the damage is already done. Let this be your sign to not learn the hard way. She also said, if you want to positively impact the world, you can't do that when you're selling yourself. It takes a toll on your mental health. I started to hate myself. I mean, that is just so sad. And the idea of this being empowering for women, in my opinion, is just such a lie. Something that makes you depressed or hate yourself isn't really what I would consider to be empowering. Maybe we have different ideas of what empowering is, but count me out. The next point is how we're perceived by others. She mentioned that she had to figure out her morals and her values and the fact that her actions weren't reflecting that. She said, even if who you are is not this super sexual person, if you're posting sexual photos, that's how the world is going to perceive you. And unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in, right? The way we're perceived by others is obviously a very nuanced topic. I mentioned in the last video I did on this that we often attract what we are, and what you put out into the world is what you attract back to you. And while this isn't black and white or the absolute truth, there is certainly truth in it. And for the sake of confusion here, I am clearly not talking about criminals or negating the concept of consent. I truly shouldn't even have to say that, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So I'll try to explain it in a different way here. I'm not saying we should be all consumed by the way that we're perceived by other people, but I do think it's important to be aware of it. So for example, physical attributes such as clothing, grooming, and body language can shape initial impressions and perceptions. How a person acts, including their manners, communication style, and social skills, can significantly impact how others perceive them as well. Individual traits such as introversion, agreeableness, openness, and conscientiousness can shape how someone is perceived in terms of their approachability, their likability, or compatibility. The reputation a person has built over time based on their past actions, their achievements, or their public image can greatly influence how others perceive them. Perceptions of a person's competence or expertise in a specific field or skill can impact how they're viewed by others, especially within a professional or academic context. And how individuals express and manage their emotions can shape perceptions of their emotional intelligence, stability, or overall demeanor. So those were just a few examples, but my point is that there are so many things that contribute to the way that we're perceived. So if I were to give you advice, it would be to make sure your actions match, or reflect, I should say, your values and morals. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. To give you a personal example here, if I dressed provocatively all the time or posted scantily photos online, people would most likely perceive me in a different way. The way you present yourself matters, and it makes a difference. Now, whether people are right or wrong and their assumptions of you is a different story, but you can't entirely blame them for making initial impressions. It's human nature to do so. I do it. I'm sure most of you do as well. So I always try to take little nuggets of wisdom from these videos and elaborate on points made. So my nugget of wisdom here is to present yourself in a way that reflects your values and just in a way that you're proud of. That will obviously vary depending on what that looks like for you as an individual. So I want to leave you all with another bonus tip here for just something to think about for your own life. And that is that being open to constructive criticism is so beneficial. You know, she mentioned in her video that her ex-boyfriend sat her down and talked about all of this with her and just gave her some feedback and constructive criticism, which I think is really important in a relationship, and to be with someone who allows you to do that. She could have easily gotten defensive, written him off, and let her ego get in the way. But instead, she used it as a springboard to get to a point in her life where she feels good about what she's doing and her actions match her values and her morals. And from the video, it sounded like a major culprit in that was the fact that her ex-boyfriend had sat down with her and shared this constructive criticism and feedback with her. So I want you all to think about how that could improve your life as well, and I'll give you some reasons why constructive criticism is so beneficial. Constructive criticism provides an opportunity for self-improvement and growth. By receiving feedback on our actions or behavior, we can identify areas where we can make positive changes and enhance our skills or abilities. Constructive criticism allows us to gain insights and perspectives that we might not have considered before. It provides an opportunity to see things from someone else's point of view, which can broaden our understanding and help us make more informed decisions. Constructive criticism often highlights areas that we can learn and develop. By being open to feedback, we can acquire new knowledge, skills, or approaches that can contribute to our personal and professional development. It can even strengthen relationships by fostering open communication, trust, and mutual respect. It also promotes a mindset of continuous improvement and growth. It encourages us to seek feedback regularly, adapt to changing circumstances, and strive for excellence in our endeavors. And in return, be willing to give constructive criticism. We don't get anywhere by coddling and lying to people we care about, but we also don't get anywhere by being mean. There is a kind way to give someone feedback that will foster introspection and growth. And that's one of my main goals with this channel and what I really try to do in all of my videos, especially my reaction videos. My intention is never bad. It's never to make someone feel horrible about themselves or to shame people. It's to highlight positive and negative behavior, or to take accountability, or to learn things from someone else so that we don't have to learn the hard way. And again, there's a kind, graceful, respectful way to do that, and that is really what I try to do in all of my reaction videos. My intentions are good. It's never to make someone feel bad or put anyone down or send a bunch of hate their way. That is not my goal, and that's not what I want, and I think that all of you are better than that too. You know, even from my own personal experience here on YouTube, I receive a lot of constructive criticism from you guys as well, and it is always well received by me. You know, of course, not all of it is constructive and people just like to be mean, but I am always open to constructive criticism and listening to your guys' perspectives and opinions when you do it in a respectful way. But that really was one of the main takeaways I got from this video that we reacted to here today of, you know, she could have easily, you know, let her ego run her life and shut down everything her ex-boyfriend said and did the opposite just kind of out of spite. I know a lot of people do that. But instead, because she was open to that constructive criticism, it seems like it changed her entire life. So just a prime example of how being open to constructive criticism and taking accountability for your actions can positively impact your life. I am not a fan of blaming people. I am not a fan of pointing fingers. And I think a lot of the time, sometimes it just takes a good look in the mirror to figure out why things aren't working out for you. Now, we have to keep in mind the human experience is not black and white. I know a lot of you don't like to hear that and you want a definitive answer for every single thing, but we have to leave room for the human experience and nuance along the way. So if you guys like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. Let me know what you thought of this video. Was it as refreshing for you as it was for me? Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. If you have a TikTok video or any other content that you want me to react to, you can tag me, you can send it to me on Instagram, email it to me, but the easiest way honestly is probably just tagging me in the comments of a video, especially if it's over on TikTok. So let me know. Always love to get content to react to from all of you. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.